Okay, we are recording now. Hello, good evening, folks. Welcome to another event for our Salesforce Architect Group from Curitiba, Brazil. Today we have a international and very special guest, Charles. He is gonna help us to understand more about AI and data in this project that communities have to present to our community this topic. One thing that I would like to tell you guys, you see that you don't have voice and video enabled. If you need to do any question, I don't know, Charles, how do you prefer? Question can be done in the moment they have the questions, or they can wait to the end. They need to wait to the end to do the question. What do you prefer? Uh, no, cannot hear you. Second here.
I think this should work better.
Now it's working.
Okay, perfect. Let's wait to the end if that's okay, everyone.
Great, great. Okay. Let's go for that. Well, for who don't know me yet, I'm Mauricio Silva, Mauricio Alexandre Silva. I'm a community leader since 2021. The old group was the Salesforce Developer Group from Brazil too. I'm being part of the Salesforce ecosystem since 2012, and I have a few certifications, a part of my learning process. If you need any help, any support, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can see my email address from the trailblazercgl.com. And we have the youtube.com channel. That's at DVLPRBR. All the events, all the things that we do for the community, I post there, and is available for anyone after the events. I'm a father. I have two kids. Carol with 3 years old, Gabrielle is 21, and my wife Eva. And they don't like IT word. They are out of this crazy word. But I love that. As I mentioned, and I'm part of the Salesforce ecosystem since 2012, and I'm really proud for all the achievements that I have. And now I'm leader just to help others. And again, feel free to contact me if I can support you, for sure. I'll be in your side. We're gonna cry together. We're gonna laugh together, but we're gonna be together as a community. Okay. Just a second. My daughter arrived here. Okay, that's will be the. Sorry, folks. Okay, this will be the next events that we will have for this community here. We are planning the. We are gonna talk about the architect world in Salesforce. Will be a full week. Will be early morning for us, and for next month, more events is coming. Will be coming, and I will notice this for everyone after we release the dates. Okay. Sorry for this, but my daughter just arrived from the school. Normally I pick up her, but today we have the event. I couldn't go there. Now we're gonna talk about AI plus data community. Again, Charles, it was really a pleasure to have you here. I was really excited that you have the first. You'll be the first international guest for us, and really excited to have this opportunity to learn more about the AI and data. And please, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and feel free to introduce yourself. And the floor is yours. And folks, again, let's wait to the end of the presentation to do the questions for Charles. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. I'm really excited to be here and present to this group about AI plus data. So thank you all for listening, your patience, for being here. Really appreciate it. I want to hop right into the presentation right now, and we'll just get started. So I believe it is this one. Okay. I imagine everyone can see my screen, right? Cool. All right. Can you see my screen? Mauricio, am I good to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Well, again, hello and welcome to the AI plus data community tour here in Curitiba virtually. My name is Charles and I'm a developer advocate here at Salesforce. And I am like super excited to share with you today what it means for developers, admins, analysts, and especially architects, everyone really, to build with CRM plus AI plus data plus trust on Salesforce. All right. Now, as always, I want to remind you that Salesforce is a publicly traded company. So you'll always want to base your purchasing decisions based on products and services that are currently available, and not anything that might be forward looking. And then second, and most importantly, I just want to thank everyone here for coming to this session. The vibrant Trailblazer community is really the heart of Salesforce. You're the people who are passionate, who bring the technology to life, who come together in events like this one and share your knowledge and learn and grow together. So I just want to really thank you for being here. You're at the heart of all of this stuff. So we have a pretty packed agenda. I'm going to try and get this done in about 40 to 35 minutes, but we're going to do a full tour of the Einstein One Studio, Salesforce's generative AI stack. We're going to start with introductions to the products and the concepts that we're going to use. We're going to get into some demos, and then I'm going to tell you about how you can get hands-on with Einstein One Studio. So first, what I would like to do is just level set with some key technical terms that are important to know as you start your generative AI journey, okay? So the first term is generative AI. And generative AI just refers to a type of artificial intelligence technology that synthesizes new content, such as text, images, music, even video, by leveraging patterns and insights gleaned from really extensive data sets to produce novel and coherent outputs. This is different from an older version of AI, predictive AI, which is more like taking old weather data and then using that data to predict the weather in the future. One form of generative AI is called the large language model. So large language models, what are they? You can imagine a large language model as a super smart student who has read an enormous library of text. They've read every page on Wikipedia and more. And as a result, they can now chat or talk about pretty much any subject that you can imagine because of all of that knowledge. That's what an LLM is. There are general purpose large language models like ChatGPT, and there are also domain specific models like GitHub Copilot, which is used for code generation. We interact with large language models through prompts. Now, prompts are the starting line for an AI conversation or task. It's where you tell the large language model what you're looking for, whether it's writing a story, solving a problem, summarizing some text, answering a question. Now, to ensure that your prompts get the best response, you'll want to ground them. So, grounding is a process that you can use to ensure that any generative AI that you're working with generates responses that are not just creative, but also accurate and relevant to the question that you're asking. So, in the world, you can imagine it as like if you're trying to make sure that a story or explanation makes sense, you might do a quick Google search to pull up some facts. That's how grounding works. And by providing prompts with enriched data to ground them, you can get better AI responses. One form of grounding is called retrieval augmented generation. You'll probably hear about this a lot in a generative AI space. Retrieval augmented generation combines the creativity of generative AI with the ability to quickly look up information, similar to how you might brainstorm some ideas, but then check some documentation or do a Google search to make sure that your ideas are actually grounded in actual reality and real facts. And then finally, we have reasoning. So when an artificial intelligence is reasoning like a generative AI, it's similar to how you might walk through a problem step by step using logic to connect the dots from the initial question to the answer, almost like Sherlock Holmes piecing together clues to solve a case. Okay. So now that we have our foundation, let's go ahead and dive in and talk about what you can build with AI plus data. Okay. We're going to start with the Einstein 1 Studio, the big picture. So the Einstein 1 Studio is a set of 3 builds that bring generative AI capabilities to Salesforce. There's the Copilot Builder, which is a conversational AI. There's the Prompt Builder, which lets you use large language models. And then there's the Model Builder that lets you build or bring your own model. Okay? We're going to start by talking about the Prompt Builder. I'm going to dive into what it is. I'm going to show you how it works through a demo. And then I'm going to tell you about what it can actually do for you and your customers. Okay? So, when we were talking about generative AI terms, I said that a prompt is the starting line for a AI conversation or task, right? It's where you begin. And if you've ever used a tool like ChatGPT, you have already created a prompt. Prompt Builder is a tool that lets you use prompts and actually build prompt templates that you can provide to your users in a variety of different ways within Salesforce. So think about all of the different times you need to generate text or you need to solve a problem within an organization. It can be something like writing an email or summarizing a case or summarizing a field or even creating a record, all types of stuff, right? These generally take a lot of manual effort, especially if it's like a writing task. But if you prompt a large language model to generate a specific output for you, you can save time for yourself and especially your users. A key element of the prompt builder that separates it from a lot of other generative AI tools is that you can safely and easily reference your CRM data, your data cloud data, or even data from external systems while using it. And this is super important because if you've ever used ChatGPT, you know that large language models can do something called hallucinate, which is when they make stuff up. But if you bring your data to your prompts, you can get more useful responses. And you're going to see how we can do that in a demo in just a moment. And one really cool thing about prompt templates is that they use your metadata, right? So they can be integrated and used with all the tools you use today. You can invoke them through a flow, you can put them in a record page, you can invoke them in Apex, and so on and so forth. But before we dive into the demo, I want to briefly touch on the different types of prompt templates that you can actually build. So currently, Salesforce provides 4 prompt templates. There's one for sales emails, there's one for field generation, there's one for summarizing records, and then there's a general use one called the Flex template. As you can see in the table, there are different use cases that apply to each template type. On the right, you can see what type of input can be used, and even more important, you can see from which entry point you can invoke the template. So there's not just a single way to use a template. There's actually a lot of flexibility available for your individual use cases, especially with that flex template. But enough words. I actually want to go ahead and just hop into a demo. So I am going to hop into a demo right now. And okay, so this is a Salesforce account that I spun up from Trailhead. It's actually a part of a Trailhead module that you can actually go through on Prompt Builder. And we're going to talk a little bit about it and how to get started with Einstein. So the first thing that you'll want to do is, of course, turn on Einstein generative AI features. So we'll click on Setup. And we'll type in Einstein Setup. Now, this is a trick that you can use to see if an account has Einstein. If you see Einstein Generative AI and Einstein Setup, you have the right licenses that you need to use generative AI features. And then we want to just turn on Einstein. Okay. So the next thing we're going to want to do here is just go to the prompt builder. Now, in order to see it in the quick find menu, we have to refresh just to make sure that we can see it. So here's our prompt builder. And what we're going to do today is just build a simple field generation template so that we can summarize the comments of a case object, for example. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a new prompt template. I'm going to select the field generation prompt template type. And I'm going to call this generate summary. Let's see here. And let me grab my description. I want to grab my description here. A short summary of case details, right? It's really important to always have a description if you want to use generative AI features, because in the future, generative AI can oftentimes learn how to use different tools within Salesforce, like prompt templates, based on the description that you provide. So if you don't generally write descriptions, it's really important to get into that habit. So we're going to look for the case object, and we're going to look for our quick summary field. And here is our prompt template workspace. We can use this to iterate and test out different prompts. Now, to use it, all you have to do is just write in a prompt. So we could type in write a poem, for example. We can also select different models. We have models from ChatGPT as well as Azure. I'm going to pick GPT-4 because it's one of the better models out there. Now, in order to run a prompt, you have to pass in a record. And that's just because when you're using generative AI in Salesforce, you always want to ground your data. So even if you're not actively using the information inside a record, Salesforce is going to force you to kind of have one. Okay. So in our case, we're using case objects. So I'm going to look for a case. I'm going to pick this one and click save and preview. And so this is going to send our prompt to OpenAI GPT-4 and create a response. We'll also see what was sent here. So we sent to we sent to GPT-4 to write a poem, and we got this response here, which is great. But what we want to do is actually summarize some cases. So let's update our prompt so that we can summarize a case based on the comments that are on site, that are actually on the case. So I'm going to grab a prompt that I already have. Okay. And paste it in. Now, one of the, of course, benefits of the prompt template builder is that you can actually proactively inject data using merge fields. So what I'm going to do is just replace these placeholders with some merge fields. So I want to grab the contents of the comments on the case. So I'll just delete this, go to my research search field here, pick case, and then look for the comments. So see here, where are the comments? Case comments. So now I'm pulling in the case comments for the record. I can also pull in the subject. And you can actually search for fields once you select which field you want to use. So I'll pick my priority as well. And finally, my case type. Okay, so here is our prompt, and it is using merge fields to pull in information proactively, which is great. So you can deploy this across Salesforce, and you don't have to manually put in any case comments or anything like that. So I'll click Save and Preview just to make sure that this works. Alrighty. And if you look here in the Resolution tab on the left-hand side here, you can actually see what was sent to OpenAI, and you can confirm that the information that you wanted was actually sent. So in our cases, we wanted to make sure that we sent the case comments, and we can see that information here, which is great. And based on that information, OpenAI was able to create a response that we see here, which is a nice summary of all of the different comments in the case. So when you're happy with a prompt, you just need to go ahead and activate it. And this makes it available for the rest of Salesforce. So now if I want to invoke this in Apex, or I want to add it to a record page, I can do so. Speaking of that, let's actually do that. So if I go back to my Salesforce app, we should have a tab for cases. Here it is. I'm going to go ahead and click on this tab here. And I have this quick summary field. And what I would like to do is just to update this field so it can use Einstein to generate a summary on demand. So let's do that. We can edit the field directly by just going to Edit Page. Close out of this. And from here, we can update our fields. So I'm going to go ahead and just upgrade this. I think I'm good. I think I'm okay here. Alrighty. And now we have this quick summary field. Now, again, we created a prompt template for the quick summary field using the prompt builder. So we can click this and we can search for prompt template. Now it'll show all of the prompt templates that are available for the quick summary field on the case object. We have just one, generate summary. We can now click save. Yeah, I'll activate this entire thing. Sure, we can just assign it as the org default. Don't try this at home. Okay, cool. Now let's go back and we should be able to generate a summary of Einstein. So we'll go back here. And here we go. So now it has this Einstein indicator here. And if we want, we can generate a summary with Einstein. So we'll do a quick summary. Einstein's going to analyze a request, figure out what steps it needs to take, and then execute it. So in our case, it just ran our prompt template, and now we have a prompt template. And if we like it, we can like it or dislike it. I'll say it did a good job, use it. And now we have a quick summary of the case based on the comments. And just to prove that this actually is doing something, the comments are found here in this case comments related list. So this is what's generating the summary right here. Another pro tip is if you don't want to use this button, you can also click edit. So I'll discard the changes. You can also invoke Einstein this way. And this is a slightly better UI in my experience. And you'll generate the summary. But you don't have to just do this, right? For example, maybe you would like Einstein to generate a summary in Portuguese. So I could just quickly say, translate this to Portuguese. I think I spelled that right. And this is a live demo. I did not test this, so I don't know if it'll work, but it did. Okay. So now we have we have our summary. Now, this is just a toy example. You don't have to do it manually. If you wanted to, you could put this in a flow, you could put this in Apex, it could be based on a record being updated, what have you, right? The possibilities are endless. Cool. So, and that was our prompt builder demo. Now, I want to walk you through what's happening under the hood. So, when I ran my prompt, you saw that there was a little bit of latency. Einstein went through multiple steps when I called it on the record page. That is due in part to the trust layer, right? So, how does it work? Well, everything begins with the prompt. We write up our prompt, and then once the prompt executes, we add data to our prompt through merge fields in the case via dynamic grounding. The next step is called data masking. So in our example, we didn't have any personally identifiable information, but oftentimes you will use personally identifiable information. With the Einstein trust layer, this data is identified and replaced with placeholders. So the data is not sent to the large language model. An additional step that's taken is prompt defense. With prompt defense, your prompt gets wrapped in an additional prompt, which is a way to filter out potentially damaging responses. Then the prompt is sent to the large language model that you're connected to. In our case, it was OpenAI GPT-4. We have agreements with all of our AI providers, whether it's OpenAI or Azure, for a zero retention policy, which means that your prompts and the responses are never stored by OpenAI or Azure. When we get back our response, we do toxicity detection to filter out any bias or potentially harmful content. And then we demask the data. So if we added a placeholder, we replace that with the original value. Then finally, we add the result to the feedback framework. When you saw that thumbs up, thumbs down, that's the feedback framework. It allows users to indicate whether or not the content was helpful, and it helps us, Salesforce, improve our system. And the entire interaction is stored in an audit trail so that you can validate how your users are using the prompts, their quality, the responses, so that you can start fine-tuning how it will be applied in your system and how you can iterate. So that's Prompt Builder. Next up, we have Einstein Copilot. And actually, I actually managed to get through that a lot faster than I expected. So you know what, Mauricio, if you don't mind, can we take a moment for questions, actually? Would that be okay? Let me stop sharing. I can't hear you. Let me see. Maybe it's me. I don't think so. Rodney, can you hear? You can hear me though, right?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Cool. Now, okay, cool, folks. If you want to do the question, please raise your hand. Then I can activate your microphone and video too. Otherwise, we can continue.
Okay. I'll give it a minute if anyone has questions. There'll still be time at the end. If not. Yeah, absolutely, Raphael. I will share the prompt for the summary. I'll share the module. It's a really good module.
Well, I think you can go for. No questions till now.
Okay. I'll go back to share my screen.
Cool.
Let me share my window here. Okay. All right, next up, let's talk about Einstein Copilot. So Einstein Copilot is a conversational AI that is available in every Salesforce app. What's a conversational AI? ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Bing AI Chat. Those are all conversational AIs. It's the most common form of generative AI, I would say, at this point. With Einstein Copilot, you can just type in a request in natural language, like you just saw, where I typed in translate it to Portuguese, right? And Einstein will figure out what you're talking about and then do what it needs to do. You could also use it to do things on record. So, for example, you could say, update the close date from our largest opportunity next month. And Einstein would literally figure out that you're talking about an opportunity, you're talking about something from next month, and then update the close date. So with Einstein, you don't just get answers, you actually get actions so that you can make quick work of anything that you need to do, right? Einstein is a different way to navigate Salesforce and use Salesforce with words as opposed to clicks. It's really powerful stuff. And unlike classic chatbots that were limited in the types of conversations they could carry, co-pilots can reason, which means they can break down a request or a task into a simple set of steps and then find the right tools for each item on their to-do list. Einstein Copilot is different from other AI assistants up until this point for a few reasons. The first reason is that it knows your data through secure grounding. Within the guardrails of the Einstein trust layer, which you just saw, Einstein Copilot can generate accurate and trusted responses in natural language that are grounded in your company's proprietary CRM, data cloud, and external data. And perhaps even more unique is that it also knows your metadata. So Einstein Copilot respects everything from your custom schema to the permissions that you've established. It dynamically adapts its suggested actions to what you're actually doing. So if you're on the opportunity page, it will say something like summarize opportunity. If you're on the leads page, it might say show new leads. And this allows you to be more productive because it's taking the context of what you're doing and where you are to suggest what you might do, right? And probably most exciting of all for architects and developers is that it's extensible. It's a platform, right? Admins, developers, architects, partners can configure their Copilot by building and customizing what we call actions for their unique business needs. Now, actions are things that Copilot can do, and they can be under the hood. They can be like flows, they can be Apex code, they can be prompts, they can be external APIs, right? It's a very, very extensible system. All you need to do is provide Copilot with a set of precise instructions of when and how to actually use those actions. So again, Copilot is a platform, right? And out of the it comes with several of what we would call generic actions. All of the actions that are made by Salesforce are called standard Copilot actions. There are platform actions all across the clouds, and all of the clouds have their own specific actions, right? And actions aren't necessarily available to everyone all the time, right? You might want some people to be able to do certain actions and other people to do other actions. So actions can be assigned by admins to specific user sets so that an admin could decide to give some users access to, say, the sales action because they're on a sales team, while enabling service actions for service users, right? And then customers and ISVs and partners can create their own actions, right? And this is the really exciting part. These custom actions can leverage standard actions. They can leverage prompt templates. They can leverage existing flows. They can leverage external services. They can leverage Apex invocable code, they can use other parts of Salesforce that already exist. So you can really think of it as a way to leverage existing functionality within the context of conversational UI. So now that we know a little bit more about Einstein Copilot and how actions work, let's see how this all fits together. So everything starts with a conversation, right? You say something to Einstein Copilot, it takes in a request in the form of a free form prompt. Then it uses a large language model as a reasoning engine to create a dynamic plan for solving your task, like helping a customer return an order or preparing talking points for a customer call. Reasoning means that the large language model chooses the right sequence of actions for getting the output that you're asking for. And those actions are just like the ones you saw. They're flows, they're Apex callouts, and they're prompt templates. Now, once the large language model has come up with a plan, it then strings together the actions to kick off workflows that span your CRM, your data cloud, and your external data. And as it's running through all of those steps, there's a human in the loop. So if it needs additional information or it needs to validate an action, it will ask you a question. And this ensures that the end result of what Copilot comes up with is actually helpful and trusted. So let's actually get into a demo with Einstein Copilot Builder. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so we'll go back to our account. And what we are going to want to do is go to setup. Now, I think I actually have setup open somewhere. So I'm just going to click on home. And for this, we're going to turn on Einstein Copilot. So we'll type in Copilot and we'll click on Einstein Copilots and we'll just activate it. So you actually have to turn on Einstein Copilots. Okay. Now, this should mean that our Copilot is activated. See here, you can always check here to see if it's active. So it should be active. If we want to test it, we can go back to our app. So we'll click on our app. We'll click on home. Let's do a quick refresh. And here's Einstein. Okay. So anywhere within Salesforce, you can just click on Einstein and you can just start to chat with him. So in my case, what I'm going to do is just ask him what can you do? Okay, so we'll just say, what can you do? And Einstein's going to figure out what he needs to do to help us understand what he's capable of. Okay, cool. So we can see that Einstein can troubleshoot, he can draft sales emails, he can manage Salesforce CRM records. So he knows a little bit about Salesforce. So actually, let's see if he can pull up an account and tell us something about an account. So I am going to ask him to tell me about Edge Communications. Now, this is an account object. And we're going to figure out whether or not Einstein can determine what I'm talking about and execute a plan. Okay, so summarize Edge Communications. All right, figuring out next steps. All right, so Einstein seems to be having an issue today. He's not quite answering the question that I am asking. But let's continue. Maybe he'll figure it out later. So in general, Einstein's able to answer questions and allow you to interface with Salesforce as a conversational AI. Now, when you talk to Einstein, Einstein generally is going to build a plan. So let's take a look at how that works. For that, we're going to have to go back to setup. So I'm going to go back to my setup tab here. And underneath Einstein Copilots, you can actually edit and modify your Einstein Copilot. So I'm going to click this tab here. I'm going to click Open in Builder. And this is going to take me to the Einstein Copilot Builder. Now, the Einstein Copilot Builder has two purposes. The first is just to test out the different actions that you have. And the second is to customize Einstein Copilot with custom actions. So what I'm going to try and do now is just try once more to summarize, to get Einstein to summarize the edge communications account object so that we can see it build a plan. Because in this interface, we can see the dynamic plan that Einstein Copilot actually uses. So let's try this one more time. And I'm going to pull the exact prompt that I tried last time. All right, it's figuring out the steps. It's working on it. It's taking a little bit of time. It's traversing the Einstein trust layer. And here we are. Here we go. We have our dynamic plan. So you can see these are the steps that Einstein actually took. So the first thing it needed to do was to identify the record name. So it identified that I was asking about a record and that the record was Edge Communications. It also identified that it was an account. The next thing it did was to just summarize the record and produce this output that we can see right here. So we have our summary right here, which is awesome. It's really, really great. So this is how Einstein creates dynamic plans. Next up, let's talk about how we can actually customize Einstein. So one thing you'll want to do is give Einstein additional capabilities. And you can do that by using the Copilot Action Builder. So to use and add new Copilot actions, you need to go back. And we're going to type in Copilot. We're going to go to Einstein Copilot Actions. And in this interface, we can add additional actions for Einstein. So we'll click New Copilot Action, and then we'll pick our action type. Now, again, remember, there are a variety of different ways to add new actions because Einstein can use the things that you build in Salesforce. So we can create an action out of Apex code, a prompt template, or a flow. We're going to pick a flow. And the action we're going to pick is initiate return. Now, when you configure a Copilot action, you need to give Copilot instructions for how to use the action, as well as instructions for the input and the output. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to grab our text for our action. So let me go ahead and grab that. Just a moment. So here is our instructions. Use initiate return for requests to return and refund orders or products in an order. So this is instructions for Einstein Copilot for when you should actually do this. Next, we need to talk about our input. So our input would be an order record ID, and we will require our input. And then our output will just be whether or not the return has occurred. So we want to know whether it's been initiated, processed, or completed. And we want to show this in the conversation. So this is when Einstein Copilot should use this action. This is the information that Einstein Copilot requires for this action. And this is the output that we want Einstein Copilot to give us from this action. And that's it. So we've created our Copilot action. Our last thing is just going to be to actually add it to Copilot. So for that, we go to Einstein Copilot. We open up our builder once more. And if we click on our action library, we have our new action. Now, in order to assign it, we have to actually deactivate Einstein Copilot. So I'm going to turn off Copilot for now. And now I can assign the initiate return action to Copilot. And it shows up as one of his actions. We can test to see if this works. Let's test to see if this works. So we are going to attempt this prompt flow. And I missed my word there. But one of the cool things about conversational AI is sometimes if you have a misspelling or you miss a letter, it'll still kind of know what you're talking about. Let's see here. So it didn't quite figure out what I was talking about here. So I'm going to try this one more time. Give it a moment. Perfect. Here's an order. Okay. So what we're going to do is, let's say, start a return for the order. Start a return for the order. And this should actually activate the initiate return copilot action. So perfect. Okay. So in our case, this one's outside of the return window. But as you can see, Copilot was able to find the order and then determine whether or not it could actually do a return. So in this case, this is what we wanted. It's really great. So we can activate our Copilot because it works and we're good to go. And that is Einstein Copilot. Awesome. Now, next up, let's talk about Data Cloud. So, as you learned earlier today, it's key to have relevant data available for getting usable outputs from generative AI. And this is where Data Cloud comes into play. So with Prompt Builder, you can add data from merge fields, but you can also add data from Data Cloud to your prompts using a process that we talked about earlier called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, or RAG. In the context of Salesforce, this is called Einstein Copilot Search, and it's currently in pilot. With retrieval augmented generation, the large language model doesn't need to be trained upfront on useful information. Instead, the relevant information is simply given to the large language model automatically, augmenting the prompt itself with the relevant contextual data. And Copilot Search not only gives access to all of your structured data, but also any unstructured data that you might have in Data Cloud, like PDF documents or voice transcripts. And the same trust principles that you saw provided by the Einstein trust layer still apply, which results in well-grounded and trusted AI responses that are able to use your Salesforce data and the structured and unstructured data that you expose in Salesforce Data Cloud. This diagram shows an overview of the process. So all the data that you ingest in Data Cloud is stored inside of the Data Cloud vector database. A vector database is a database that combines structured and unstructured data and transforms it into a numerical representation called a vector embedding. It's just a set of numbers. And this vector embedding format is easier for an AI system to process the data and compare it against queries and respond with a useful answer. It's all very technical, and what's great is that it's just a part of Data Cloud. So now, when a user request comes in, like a prompt that references data from Data Cloud, Copilot Search can quickly identify the relevant content, augment the prompt before it's sent to the trust layer, and give you results that are well grounded in the data that you provide from Salesforce CRM as well as Salesforce Data Cloud. And again, this is going to help you generate more relevant responses from your large language models. And as we mentioned ingestion, let's quickly kind of walk through how that works. So how does ingestion with Data Cloud work? Well, first, you connect all of your customer data at hyperscale. And we do this with an extensive library of out-of-the-box connectors native to Data Cloud and in partnership with MuleSoft Anypoint platform. Then, once we ingest and bring in all of your data into Data Cloud, as streaming data or batch data, we prepare it and transform it with clicks or code. But the challenge is that your data from any system can still be in a variety of different formats. So Data Cloud harmonizes all this data, no matter the format, into a common data model. Right? You can think of it as like a meta schema. And together, these data models form a customer profile. And this becomes your single source of truth for every single customer. But the real power is that once your data is in Data Cloud, it's activated across all Salesforce platforms and applications. So those activations can be calculated insights, it could be real-time segmentation, it could be analytics in Tableau, trigger automations with flows or platform events, and as we just learned, ground it with AI. So that's Data Cloud. So we learned a lot today. And you can keep the learning going with the Built with Einstein Quest. It's a really great opportunity to build a prompt template with the prompt builder or an action with the Copilot builder or both. Anything you build, you can also share in a screen recorded video on Twitter or LinkedIn with the hashtag Built with Einstein. Complete the test, complete the quest for a chance to win something cool. So thank you all for your time and attention. I know we covered a lot, but I want to give a huge thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
Cool. We thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Again, we was very excited to have you here. Folks, if you guys have questions, now it's time to do that. Just raise your hand and I will open the microphone. If you don't want to speak, you can just type and we can go for that. Oh, another thing, we're gonna share all the stuff in the LinkedIn and by email for the bevy. And if you guys don't worry about that, the content and stuff, that's everyone's gonna get that. Well, don't think so. They're gonna do any questions. Don't worry, folks. Just open the microphone and you can do whatever. The question is not. Sometimes the people, oh, can I do this stupid question? No, no question is stupid. Everything is this. Okay, all of these features will be available in Portuguese and multi-language.
Good question.
Yes,
Good question.
that's a good question.
That's a really good question. I actually don't know the question offhand. I will say that I think Einstein speaks Portuguese if you ask him to create a prompt or generate some text, but I don't know if he does it natively. I'll have to get back to you on that one and reach out to someone on
Yes,
the team, but I don't know, to be honest.
that's a really good question. If we follow all the functionalities that Salesforce is implementing since I start to play with Salesforce 2012, of course, the first will be in English, right? After that, they're gonna implement the most used language. That's Portuguese is one, Spanish, German, now in Hindi, right? And that's are the main biggest language that the Salesforce platforms. But that's like a really good question. Is if you can get this information for us, Charles, we really appreciate that.
Definitely.
Thank
I'll
you,
like
Nathan.
ask someone and circle back. Hopefully, the answer is I hope that it does. But
I think probably in the future, of course, you'll be because there's a lot of things that's coming to the Portuguese after that. Of course, the trainings and all the stuff we still struggling to have the trailhead go in the Portuguese, but step by step they are going for that, and for sure they are selling a lot of stuff in Brazil and the functionality they are translating, right? They are applying to the local language too because we have orgs that's only for Portuguese is only a single language and in single language is everything is you need to just go for that, right? I'm pretty sure I don't know about the timelines, right? but this is I'm guessing. I cannot say talk through, but this is uh, from my past experience. I expect that Salesforce doesn't gonna fail in this thing.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Cool. Um, any other question, folks?
Yeah, cool. Well, even if you have a question later, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter, uh, Charles W underscore Dev. You're always welcome to just like send me a DM, ask a question if you like. That's cool too.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, all this information I'm gonna paste in. I'm gonna add in the LinkedIn in the post that we're gonna do there. I'm gonna add all the contacts for Charles for everyone to get in contact with him if
yep,
any question have after that. And that's so we don't gonna miss this opportunity to have you helping us in these really amazing things that Salesforce is doing to improve the way that we work and to uh, create more beautiful functionality for our customers, right? That's the main stuff that Salesforce creates things for us to developer and create for our customers and keep them happy work with Salesforce tools. And that's one of the big stuff right in the market today.
I agree. Definitely. Oh, this is a good one. Is there a
Yeah.
good? Is there any trail or blog that you recommend for anyone who wants to delve deeper into the subject of AI and data cloud? It's a great question. I would say the place to start is definitely with the get started with trailheads for two reasons. One, they're really good for foundational stuff, but even better is that they all include these links that allow you to get like an org that has an Einstein one platform license so that you can actually tool around with the features. And that might be even more valuable. So I would say get started with Prompt Builder and then Einstein Copilot, go through the short trails themselves just to get familiar with like how it works. And then from there are some really great talks in a developer track from TDX that go through a lot of this stuff. There's a really awesome talk from Alba on my team, uh, specifically on prompt templates, where she talks about some of the functionality that you can use with Flex templates. Which, if you are a developer, I think you'll absolutely love. Flex templates are amazing. You can use them as you can like hit them with the REST API and invoke them from third-party applications. It's really cool stuff. I'll make sure to send this to Mauricio at the end of this call.
Cool. Perfect. Anything else, folks? Okay. Let me just share my screen back here. Cool. Again, Charles, thank you very much for your time, for all the information you provide to us today. It was really a beautiful way to start our international speaker. That's really a good topic and a good learning that we have from you today. Folks, now we're gonna have for who participate in this event today. Of course, we always have something that's for our members, right? Today we're gonna have for two things, right? One is this, the gold T-shirt for Trailhead, and another one is a kind of pack, just bag to take the things and walk through. Take out the eyes from my books. These books are not available for you guys. I know that you guys can see the books here, right? One is a Salesforce Architect book. Another one, that is my next goal, to become CTA. That's the my planning to the next year. Let's just come here now. Charles, if you want to log out, feel free to go. And again, my friend, thank you very much. I will be in contact to you just to get the content and our communities are open to you. Anything that you want to share with us, feel free to contact me. We can schedule, have other communities having events from you or from your team, and we are really appreciate anything that you guys do for us and teach us, help us, right, to understand better these functionalities from Salesforce.
Absolutely. And thank you, Mauricio, and thank you, Curitiba Community Group, for having me. It's been a pleasure presenting with you all. I may have been your first international speaker, but I am sure I will not be your last.
For sure.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
want to
you.
log out, but I really appreciate it. I love the energy. Have a great rest of your session. Bye,
Thank
y'all.
you. See you. Bom, agora voltamos para o português. Pessoal, muito obrigado aqui mesmo. Bem interessante o que ele apresentou. Deixa eu só ver aqui agora a lista dos participantes. Eu vou tirar essa tela daqui. Agora, tudo ao vivo, né? Ao vivo e a colores. Eu vou... Sorteio online. Aqui. Agora no final aqui nós temos... Eu vou fazer por... me pediram um dia para fazer por nomes, né? Então eu vou gastar um pouquinho mais de tempo aqui só para não dar para... O Bev ainda está passando por umas reformulações, são 2 itens, né? Eu vou escrever os nomes das pessoas aqui conforme está no chat. Maxley. Cedo. Tadeu. Bruno. Beilton. Vanessa. Rafael. Rodney. Nathan. Raquel. Leonardo. Tá. Pline. Tati. Ana. Regina. Danilo. Adriana. Luciano. Lúcio. Ana Carla. Parabéns, Ana Carla, aí pela nova empreitada de security. Show de bola. João Vitor. Tiago, estamos esperando os eventos que você vai fazer, meu amigo. De novo, conte com a gente aí. Sei que vai ser show de bola. Raíza e Vânia. Eu vou pedir para os 2 sorteados ficarem, permanecerem, para daí eu vou abrir o microfone deles para a gente poder pegar o endereço. Por favor, não desconectem, tá? Então, aqui está o nome das pessoas. Vão ser sorteados 2 pessoas desse sorteio. Opções de sorteio. Deixa eu ver aqui. Mostrar o resultado. Adicionar contagem regressiva. Então, são essas pessoas que permaneceram aqui no final. Beleza? Vamos lá. Sortear agora. O primeiro prêmio é a camiseta e o segundo prêmio é a sacolinha. Quatro, 3, 2, 1 e... Danilo, o primeiro, e Rafael é o segundo. Então, Danilo e Rafael, por favor, Danilo Santana e Rafael, por favor, vocês fiquem conectados. Rafael Cardinoc Araújo, fiquem conectados para eu pegar os dados de vocês, para eu poder enviar essas lembrancinhas do nosso evento, que vocês fazem jus em ter recebido. Outra coisa, pessoal, não é Deilton, não. Estou sem óculos. Ah, tá. Sem problema. Muitíssimo obrigado pela participação de todos. De novo, agradeço a vocês. Isso daí é feito para vocês. Espero que vocês tenham aprendido mais ainda sobre as funcionalidades que estão vindo e que são os tops hoje da Salesforce, né? Então, nós vamos continuar fazendo eventos com uma presença de pessoas de fora do país, principalmente da Salesforce, para poder cada vez compartilhar mais e mais sobre as funcionalidades que estão vindo. Nós também vamos trazer pessoas da Salesforce aqui do Brasil, para ter eventos em português, mas a gente vai começar a ter essa colaboração externa, né, para praticar também o nosso inglês, né, porque bastante coisa que vem hoje do mundo Salesforce vem primeiro em inglês, então, e também muita coisa ainda está sem tradução e a forma que a Salesforce trabalha, e também para poder a gente trabalhar para fora, né, essa que é uma das coisas aí que ajuda os eventos em inglês, beleza? Então, de novo, Danilo e Rafael, por favor, fiquem conectados que eu vou pegar a informação com vocês. Pessoal, de novo, muitíssimo obrigado pela participação, fiquem com Deus e até a próxima. Valeu! Aqui. Rafael. E Danilo, moderador. Tá. Pode, Rafa. Presenter remote. Opa, aqui, deixa eu só fazer o presenter remote também. Tá aqui. Beleza? Pronto. Aí, Danilo, bom, você foi agraciado aí com a camiseta. Deixa eu só abrir o meu notepad aqui para eu poder anotar teu endereço bem certinho. Você é da onde, Danilo?
Sou de Pernambuco. Eu já
Opa!
acabei ganhando já também uma vez contigo. Tu mandasse uma camisa aqui para mim.
Opa!
Acho que é a segunda vez que eu ganhei.
Essa é a segunda camiseta.
Pode passar no
Então
chat
tá.
aqui o endereço?
Pode passar, por favor, aí que eu já pego aqui. Isso é pé quente, então.
Rapaz.
Beleza aqui. Tá. Santana. Então vamos lá. É Rua Perilo, Rangel 65 Cajá.
Carpina. Cajá é o bairro, né?
Tá. Peraí. Pernambuco, Casa Amarela.
Referência, Casa Amarela.
Casa Amarela. Carpina é a cidade, Pernambuco é o estado, CEP 55 813 520.
Isso.
Show. Muitíssimo obrigado de novo aí pela participação,
Obrigado,
Danilo. E conte com a gente no que precisar aí, tá bom?
Obrigado, boa noite e obrigado pelo evento também.
Valeu. Rafael. Alô? Tá me escutando, Rafael? Rafael. Não. Araújo. Alô, alô, Rafael, se você está aí. Alô.